Good evening, and my name is Robert Kane, better known on some social media channels as Chris Gray. Come to you humbly tonight in my very, very humble abode. And I think it's so very, very important to not only us Canadians here at home, but also to the American people. That we as people, that's right, individuals, I'm not speaking from a political bias or a pro-social bias from any level, but I'm speaking to all of you as individuals. There seems to be a very, very, very large amount of lack in there of transparency within our governments. This seems to be the norm. Often in society, they expect us to follow rules of law, and they themselves, often of the latter, do completely the opposite. I need to explain to people of all nations and of all religions and ethnic backgrounds, and by the way, there's no fancy music here this evening. There's no memes, there's no videos, there's no music playing in the background, there's no silliness. And this is just me coming to you. I thought I'd, for the moment, keep this a little bit more intimate. And without further ado, I'm going to get right to the punch. Over here in Canada, there has been an absolute gross, and when I mean gross, I mean gross. There has been a gross miscarriage of justice here in our Canadian system, particularly within our House of Government, the House of Commons. We have allowed our Prime Minister to not only avoid possible prosecution, but our very government has allowed our Prime Minister to break ethical rule of law on multiple occasions. On multiple occasions. In that very same breath, our Prime Minister has completely demolished whatever foreign trade agreements, whatever arbitrary laws we've had. He has continuously said that he has cooperated with the ethics commissioner up to the point where he had her fired, or she dismissed herself because there was so much pressure. But in the end, she was fired. She was replaced. There's something to be said about that alone. Now on to something very, very interesting. And I'm going to now go to the right of this, to our good neighbors across the way in the United States. And this goes out to the Democratic Party. I bet you're expecting some really great speech here. You see, Madam Speaker of the House, I'm referring to you, Nancy Pelosi. I don't have anyone write my speeches for me. And I certainly don't have any strings, as you can see. I'm very, very unfiltered. Allow me to retort and explain to you people what that means. I'm not at all in the business of sugarcoating. Very much like Joe Biden said during the Obama administration, during his visit to the Ukraine. Oh, well, what'd you say, Joe? What were those exact words again? Do we need to play it for you, Joe? Do we need to play it for you? You know, I travel abroad myself when I can, how I can. I'm very, very dedicated and loyal to those. As you can see, I'm very, very scruffed up. I've been working day and night on a project. And by the way, this goes out to one Mr. Gary Wynn. I look forward to conversing with you again very soon, sir. And I am working like a dog on this upcoming documentary. And I would so much appreciate your participation in any way, shape, or form. Also, to a number of constituents and my supporters, I wish to thank you for your independent support. I know that it's been rough on you guys financially doing so. I can't, you know, and by the way, it is with utmost excitement that I am going to say that, well, The Dark State should be released sometime in October. I'm not exactly sure of the release date again, but I'm going to tell you something. I believe the release of The Dark State will bring about much needed awareness when it comes to something known only on Washington Hill is as, of course, the inner circle. A lot of people don't seem to understand that this goes back since the Reagan administration. Ronald Reagan, by the way, was a good man. A lot of people thought he was a warmonger. A lot of people thought, you know, particularly that he wasn't the best president in the world. I happen to agree with that statement. However, he did prevent a Cold War with the Russians. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who was prepared to go head on, but also at the same time bribing Russian officials. That's right. The Clinton Foundation gave over $32.68 million for the Pfizer report. And for those of you who do not know what the Pfizer report is, that's right, it's the Mueller report, okay, just under a very fancy name. They particularly used Robert Mueller as a puppet for their political gain. And they attempted to use Robert Mueller using your tax dollar. That's right, the U.S. taxpayers' money. Used millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to fund an investigation to line the pockets of Jerry Nadler, to line the pockets of Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders. Oh, don't worry, Bernie. Bernie, you'll be making a little bit of an appearance in the Dark State as well. We all know Bernie. Well, you all soon will find out that the reason why Bernie Sanders stepped down was purely for monumental gain. That's right. He sold his spot to Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders at one point was beating Hillary Clinton in the polls. That's right. But Bernie, you've got some secrets, don't you? Don't worry, those are going to come out in Dark State as well. Oh yeah, I get Bernie. This is a message to our, of course, the President-elect of the United States. Sir, I've been a huge fan of yours since I can't remember when. I remember the first time seeing you adorn an American flag above one of the biggest buildings in New York City. I think everyone remembers that photo. That was back in '85. And I knew, sir, then that you were a real American, that you were a true patriot. To all of you across over the United States, I have a message. And this goes out to my mother as well. You know, she seems to be some kind of hippie libtard. She doesn't understand that sometimes we do have to fight for things that we truly believe in. You know, Malcolm X said it, that those who stand for nothing will fall for anything. And I am a true believer in that in itself. With that, I'm going to leave you guys be. I have some work to do. Plus I'm making supper and I'm doing a whole bunch of things. I'm quite busy these days. But I'm going to tell you something. I am going to do my utmost to bring you this independent documentary feature, and I hope you guys will all tune in. I may actually throw a watch party on my social group on Facebook first and foremost, just to kind of get a reaction from my friends and fellow comrades before I actually upload it to my channel. However, you may say, however, I have a message to those up in the House on Washington Hill who sit on the Democratic Party. That's right. Who sit in those little Democrat seats. Not so many of them now, are there? It is time. It is time for you, as not only a republic, but as a nation, to stand up to corruption, to stand up, to rise up above your wallets, your checkbooks, your MasterCards, your Visas, and to say that this is no longer appropriate. This can no longer stand. You can make that change. You can show those corrupt, those who stand for abomination, that they will no longer be tolerated, and that they are no longer needed on Washington Hill. My name is Robert Kane, and I am signing off.